Hello everybody, welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is Dimp Digital's weekly video games podcast. You've got myself, Apps, here, running the operations this week. And I'm currently joined by Mr. Piper. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You?
Yeah, I'm not too... Well, I'm hungover again. So that's 3 weeks running.
Was it Christmas party last night?
It was not. It was some sort of month drinks that sometimes get put on. And when there's...
No reason, just month drink.
Yeah, so I had that and... I didn't even stay out late, so I just can't hack it anymore, unfortunately. Really does mean.
Gone.
Yeah. I mean, you've just lied to the listeners there, though, when you said you're all right, because you're just telling me that you've been ill. So...
Yeah, so if I'm coughing and splattering, I'm sorry. But, you know, we're plugging, this is what we do at Dim Digital. We plug through the pain just to bring you, not even breaking news, to bring you just rambling.
Yeah. And rambling is what we're good at, and we're going to ramble about Ark Survival Evolved.
Yes, we are.
So this is now out on the PlayStation 4. Previously, well, it still is an early access game on Steam. It's still listed as that, which typically means, you know, the game's not complete. I think they're scheduling a full release, as they'll call it, in 2017. So it's a bit weird to see this on the PlayStation platform, because typically Sony haven't really put games on that are not in a finished state. Xbox have an Xbox One preview program where they've had early access betas that have arrived on there for people to do. But I feel like they've treated Ark Survival Evolved as though it's finished on the PS4. Is that the impression you got buying the game? Does it say anywhere like this is early access or it's not finished? Is there anything like that when you go through the process of looking for it on PlayStation?
No, I don't think there's actually anything there that I can break on the top of my head. When you enter the sort of like the main loading screen, the main sort of hub, it does say that there's bug fixes, they're fixing this and that, and actually they've been quite vocal that the release for Ark is coming in spring 2017.
Right.
So they've been pretty honest to people buying the game that they're not actually, but even though they're buying the game, they're not buying the game in its finished state. There'll still be things being added to it. However, they believe what they've got is worthy enough to be played and to be played quite happily by people like me and you.
Yeah. So do you think they're circumventing the system slightly by saying it's done, but it's not?
This is a strange one, and you're right in saying that Sony don't ever do stuff like this, because they release games that they say are finished, whether they're good or bad. They say that they're finished. Like you can throw your pillows out the window or whatever it is. You can say like things like No Man's Sky got released and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But they were at that time, they were classed as finished games.
Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't get finished, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But Ark is not classed as a finished game, and the Ark dev team have actually said a lot of the reason that this has been happening is a lot of they've been putting pressure on Sony, saying, look, we've got a game that's workable on the PlayStation console, and they've had it there for like the last 6 months to be ready to go into PlayStation, but PlayStation have been blocking it. And it's just them, I believe as well, the pressure of the community of PlayStation players really wanting to get their hands on this game. They can see it on Xbox and they can see people actually playing is a decent game, whether it is early access, but they're playing a decent game, and they want to play it on the PlayStation 2, not PlayStation 2, but they want to play it on the PlayStation 4 too. I think there's been a lot of pressure from fans going to Sony and going, come on, we just want to play this game. We appreciate it that it's not fully finished, but we think it's in a state where we're happy to pay for it in that state, and we're not going to turn around and complain and say, You're selling us an unfinished game. We know it's unfinished. Just let us play it, and we'll when it comes around to being released in spring, we'll be happy. And I think that's maybe as well the push is that it's not spring. We're talking maximum 5 months from now. So, and you'd hope that this date isn't going to be pushed back and they're actually going to stick to it, and that actually what they're doing at the moment is they're just doing sort of minor tweaks and maybe putting a tiny little bit more content in terms of engrams and craftables and maybe a dinosaur here or there, but nothing actually physically sort of like gameplay changing.
No, so you feel like the core experience is already there. It'd just be adding, maybe fleshing it out a little bit more.
Yeah, and actually, I think like it's very fleshed out as it is at the moment. Maybe it's just they're gonna add, I don't know. This is a game you can build from being like a primate all the way, building like thatched weapons all the way up to building sort of like stainless steel buildings and generators and lighting and stuff like that. So, and water systems and there's probably a ton more night vision goggles and stuff like that. So it's there's a whole host of craftables already in the game.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that I look at that game now, and I've played it for a couple of hours so far, and I look at what they've got there at the moment, the start of that game, and the start of the game when I played No Man's Sky, and there's already 100 times more that you can do in the game and craft and make personable than you could do in something like No Man's Sky. So I think things like that have sort of helped them say, look, this is a game we should be releasing to our customers.
Yeah. Are they running a risk here? We've seen 7 Days to Die. Now that's Steam. That's still in early access. They retailed that on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and review-wise, it got absolutely shit on because it was just a disaster. Basically, it wasn't finished. It was buggy. People bought it and were expecting a much more polished experience. Do you think Ark or the Ark team might fall into that trap and be stung by a few bad reviews? And as we've seen with things like the Tomorrow Children, it's difficult to dig yourself out of a bad launch and get people to buy into your game.
So I think, yes and no towards this question. I think that they could potentially have bad reviews, though so far I'm not hearing players complain about Ark on the PS4. And it's more of that the players are relieved that they're actually getting a chance to play the game more than anything else. And actually, when looking at the reviews, and I haven't gone and looked at any of the big reviews or any of the scores that they've been given for the PlayStation release, but I've been looking around at the community sort of posts, and people are already talking about, this bit's a little bit buggy here, that bit's a little bit buggy there, but it's all like everyone knows what they're getting. So I feel like maybe with 7 Days to Die, that was sort of put out as a game. It wasn't put out as look, we're doing this early access game that you can have. And actually, I think even with 7 Days to Die, you could buy a physical copy of it.
Yeah, it's on disc. Yeah,
exactly. Which is just stupid in my opinion. They haven't done that on Ark. There is not a physical copy. It's just download store only, and you have to search for it to find it. It's not just I didn't see it just straight on the homepage of the store saying we've released this on the day it got released. So I feel it's a lot more low key in terms of the way it's been released, so that the people that are actually picking it up are people that know more, sort of know what they're buying into. And there are, as I said, there are parts that are a little bit buggy, but actually in the grand scheme of things, it's stuff that you can really live with. It's not like if that was a finished game, I could be like, well, that's not great, but you know what, I could live with that. But because it's early access, that they're going to be, you would hope that they would be fixing those few bugs.
Yeah. So you're obviously, you were quite in the know. You knew what was going on with Ark Survival Evolved. You saw, you've obviously followed it, and you knew, you had a good idea that it might not be completely polished yet. Is there the thing I'm struggling with is someone who perhaps doesn't do their research. Perhaps all they do is see that really cool looking trailer that you sent to us earlier the week, which made it look amazing. They see that, they jump on, not really knowing what they're getting until after they've bought it. Can you see that ever being an issue for people? Obviously, not everyone does do research into games. You get people that just pick things up on a whim, or after seeing a bit of, media for it, think, oh, that looks really cool. It's got dinosaurs. Christ, get me that. Or is it just that you don't think that's even going to be an issue because the game's so polished, or as polished as you'd expect from, a full release anyway?
So I completely get that, and so this is I feel that what you're talking about here is or what it would lead to is what I call Biff syndrome. So where you buy things like Bloodborne and you don't really look at it and you think I could do that, and then you play the first couple of hours, you think what the fuck's going on here, and you like I can't play that anymore. It is hard unless you'd sort of like watched a few YouTube videos beforehand and sort of know what to play the game. it's not going to hold your hand at the start. So you have to go and learn what you need to do. You have to figure out at the start that, right, I've got to start punching trees to get wood, and I pick stones up off the floor so I can then craft a pick or an axe, and then start leveling up and cut more stuff down and build more stuff up, and then there's dinosaurs around you that will just kill you, and you're like, fuck's sake, why am I always dying? And then there's things around you, like you can be too hot, you can be too cold, so you've got to try and keep yourself at the right temperature. You've got to consistently be drinking water, you've got to consistently be eating. Obviously you can get hurt by attacks and falls, and therefore you need to eat more food to build your health back up, and so there's lots of like things that can kill you, and in the start of the game, if you don't know what you're going to do, you're going to be dying very regularly, and especially so you can get really frustrated by that. And I died a few times when I first turned it on, until I sort of like I said, watched a few sort of YouTube videos on how people start up, and then sort of started pulling together those techniques to get myself started up. And once you're started up and running, you sort of start to understand the mechanics and what you're supposed to do, but it won't hold your hand at the start. So there is definitely the avenue that people could just say, oh, that looks amazing. You land in a game and you think you're going to be like, you
get story
in like the Last of Us, and you're going to be shown the way through. Amazing game, but it's a story driven game. But this isn't that. This is your Minecrafts, your Rusts, your 7 Days to Die. But in the fact that you will not get told what to do, you just have to sort of know. And then you figure out how you want to play it, and whether you play that in single player mode or on the servers, and that's up to you. But it's there is that definite ability that you could get stuck at the start and just think, look, this is a shit game, and also then see a few of the bugs, especially if you buy it in this early access state and think, oh, this game's not finished, it's crap, and then you just throw it away. So I can see how some people might do that.
Yeah, fair enough. So basically, just make sure you're doing your research. Know what you're going to get for it. It is a weird one. I think it grays the lines a little bit, or blurs the lines a lot more with this coming out on PlayStation. Because like you said, typically we've not had that before. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think it's, a lot of disappointment in games can be avoided through research, through seeing what the game's like in the flesh, or watching someone play it, those sort of things. So there's tools out there for people to avoid disappointment these days, and as the lines do blur between full release and half release and mid release, you're gonna have to use those tools a lot more to dig through the shit, basically, and make sure you get to all the quality stuff. So let's talk about the actual game itself.
Yep.
What do you do? Do you just get randomly spawned on the map in a random place? Is it, and you start with nothing, or do you have some sort of tutorial? What does it do to you?
So you go to the main menu. So I'll walk you step by step. You get a choice to either go online, play them sort of like on the multiplayer servers where there's other players playing. I've done my research and I've not gone into that yet because I'm not ready to just be killed by someone straight away, or build a house and someone come along and tear it down in 5 minutes after I've logged off. I think I'd just feel so annoyed. So I went straight into the single player mode because I wanted to get my grips with the sort of like the controls. You click through to that, and it takes you to a screen where you can choose between a male and a female character, and you can really personalize that character. Pretty much every part of their body, what they look, whether they're really short and fat or really tall and skinny, all the way from sort of like the blackest black person you could see all of to the palest white person. And so you could really personalize that character and name it and so forth. Once you've created that character, you can, and there is some weird creations, you can make that character look really weird, which makes it quite fun. So you can have it like a realistic guy, or you can have it like there would be no one ever in the world that'd ever look like that. But it's fun. It's up to you. You can either decide what you want to do that way. And I like games that give you the option to do that. You then get the opportunity to say where would you like to spawn. You can click random, or you can go to this is like I don't know, it must be about 20 spawn points, ranging from low, medium, and hard. I've spawned myself out of low. I'm trying to learn the controls. I didn't want, if you spawn yourself out hard, I can imagine there's a T-Rex there every 2 seconds, and you're maybe in, I don't know, in the ice region or something along those lines, and you're going to just, unless you know what you're doing straight off the bat, you're going to just keep dying. So I went to the low, you then just spawned you at this beach. There was some dinosaurs around, vegetarian dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Hello.
That's the herbivore. Is that
herbivore? Yes, it. Yeah.
That's the old saying. Herbivores. A lot of those around. So I wasn't going to be attacked very much.
Right.
And you just spawned, and that's it. You look at your wrist. You've got this weird contraption in your wrist, which makes no sense. And then you just left. There's no tutorial.
Right. There's no even buttons. No. And stuff.
So say what to do, and then it basically was me pressing every button to try and figure out what button leads to where, jump and stuff like that. And I'd known the interfaces from watching a few YouTube videos before, so I knew where sort of like the crafting and the leveling up sort of system area was, and like your inventory and so forth. So I sort of understood it when I went in, but if you didn't understand how that worked, that could be a little bit difficult, because it's not the most user friendly UI. For anyone that's seen it, is pretty.
Would it be easier if it was on a PC with a mouse and keyboard? Do you think? Is it a struggle just because you're using a controller to navigate, or is it just going to be a struggle whatever platform you play?
It's definitely designed for mouse and keyboard. There's no doubt about that. But it just looks ugly.
Better or worse than No Man's Skies? And they've changed it actually, but
I haven't played with the new interface. No Man's Sky, I thought actually like. There wasn't much there. The interface was actually relatively intuitive. So actually the interface on that wasn't too bad, but it was just the rest of the game was pretty crap. But it's for this. So you figure that out, and then I sort of thought, right, I need to start getting my bits going. And I knew I had to punch a tree. As I said, I'd watched some YouTube before. So I went and punched a tree, got some wood, and started gathering stones once I figured out which buttons to press on the controller. And then crafted my first pick type axe. And then I went round sort of gathering things, and then I leveled up, and I was like, oh, and I figured all that out. And you sort of discovering as you go along. So there's always new bits then popping up, and you're like, oh, I didn't. This is now popping up, and now I can do that. And the leveling system in it, it's relatively fun.
Right. What does it do? What does it give you?
So for example, once you hit like you hit level 1, for example, or level 2, whatever the first one is, you hit that, and then it's like you've got a new level. You can go to your interface, which actually your interface is this weird thing in your wrist. So you go to it, and you can then go to all these different stats that you've got. So the stats are around keeping like, and so it shows you got like 100 for weight, and that means how much you can carry. You've got 100 for health, 100 for water, 100 for
stamina,
food, stamina and stuff like that. And you can then put 10 points next to any of them, so you can sort of like level up. And so I went through, like, I think the first one I did, I put it towards was health, and I've been doing food and water, because the more you can get up, the longer you then have less time you have to eat and drink in between. So I put the 10 points to that, and then it's like bing, and then it says you've got 9 engrams. And you're like, engrams, not ingrams. You got 9 engrams, and
Destiny talk getting you there.
Yeah. And then you go through. You can click through, and you get this interface where you can't craft everything off the bat. You have to be a certain level to craft things. So you get to level 1, and then maybe at level 1 you're able to unlock, I don't know, 10 different items.
So if I was if I just started and I had all the materials to build a gun, I wouldn't be able to craft one until I'd reached a high enough level. So essentially you'd reach a high enough level. This is my understanding of it. You reach a high enough level, and you would also get these engrams, so that you'd have, as I said, like 9 engrams, but each item would cost a certain amount of engrams. Yeah, sure.
So you then have to decide what to you is more important to unlock at that stage.
It doesn't give you the item; it just unlocks the ability to craft it.
It unlocks the ability to unlock it.
So it won't just give you a gun, for example, in your hand there and then. It just goes, right, now you know the blueprint essentially to craft that item. And if you want
that blueprint in your inventory, you're going to have to spend 5 engrams to unlock that blueprint. And once you've unlocked that, you can then craft it. And obviously, I would imagine the higher you get up, you have to use crafting tables and so forth to craft things. But like the sort of the low level I'm at the moment, you can pretty much just craft all like the basic stuff without being at some sort of table, or without being at like having other things. And you don't have to. You can collect all the resource for the level I'm at the moment. Whereas further down the line, you have to like in like Minecraft where you mix items together to get another item to then create something else. It's similar to that. So, but yeah, it's quite enjoyable at the moment. So I'm unlocking different areas, and I've at the moment chose to unlock like the pickaxe, like the wood axe. I've unlocked like the really basic sort of clothing for hats, shoes, and stuff like that. And I built I've got unlocked foundations, walls, doors, and roof, and a door. And I've crafted them to create like a little mini house.
All right, you've done that already.
Yeah, it's really tiny. It's like, you know, the 4x4 block house you create in Minecraft, exactly the same as that, just to survive, because I was getting attacked by dinosaurs every 2 minutes. And when I went through to different areas, I thought, I need to get this up and running. I crafted a sleeping bag so you can spawn there, and like a chest so far, so you can just dump some items into it.
Yeah. So, go on.
But what I was going to say was like, and there's other things like if you pick berries and you collect meat, they've got a perishable time next to it. So like it will go off or become like bad meat in like if you don't use it within the next 10, 15 minutes.
Sure.
So there's no point in going out just stocking up on like killing 100 dinosaurs and stock the meat up, because it will just go off and become rotten. Yeah. So it means you're always, I guess, you get as much as you sort of really need for the time being, put yourself up, and then when you get later you go off and get it again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether later on you can unlock like fridges, which will keep it stored for longer and stuff like that. But
can you eat it if it goes off, or does it just not let you eat it, or does it give you like a health penalty, or is it?
So I haven't eaten it, but from doing a bit of research before, I think you get like poisoned or something. So you become unwell because you've gone off meats.
Yeah, fair enough. So when you die eventually, or inevitably in these games, do you lose all of your progress? Do you just respawn back at the? Do you have is there a penalty on your XP or your level? What happens when you die? I assume you lose all the items that are on you.
Yeah. So this was.
Or is it clean slate it completely?
Yeah. So this was interesting. So first time I died, I'd leveled up a few levels, and I was fuck, I've lost those levels, I've lost all those items. But actually, you keep all those levels, so you're still like level 3 or level 4.
Right.
And you still have the ability to craft those bits off the cuff, which is nice. All your items are gone. You've obviously just been spawned blank. You can choose where you spawn. So I guess I haven't died when I've had the sleeping bag, but I assume you can spawn over by your sleeping bag.
Right.
Or you can, because I wasn't too far away from the area I spawned in originally, chose to spawn back in that point.
Right.
I went round to the area that I was killed in, and I found my body was just there laying on the floor. I could hack it up and I could loot my body, so I could get all my items back.
Hang on, you hacked your own corpse up?
Yeah. It's like give me the loot. So
did you have to do that, or couldn't you just take it off him?
I think you can take it, but I was like, I may as well take the corpse as well, get rid of that. It's looking messy. You can drag it along as well. So you can triangle it. So what's it, ragdoll?
Yeah.
You can like drag it along and stuff like that. It's just quite funny. So if you killed someone, you want to drag them along to places. If you create a prison, you can maybe you can knock someone out if you're on like the level on the multiplayer, and you could knock them out, pull them into a prison, and then when they wake up, they're in a prison cell. So that's quite fun. I've not obviously done any of that yet, but I've seen people that do that. But that is quite good. So I haven't lost any of my stuff yet because of the ability to go back and get it. But I can imagine on the multiplayer, someone would go along and loot your body.
They'll be hacking your body up and doing all sorts to it.
So, but that's I'd rather that than me carrying a load of stuff around and then it just gets lost. It just disappears.
Yeah.
In the real world, if someone got killed, everything in their bag wouldn't just suddenly disappear unless someone looted it. So it sort of makes sense to do the same there.
Yeah. How does the do the animal or do the dinosaurs, do they interact with each other? Do they attack each other? Do the meat eaters come along and attack each other? Is there like a working ecosystem and food chain there?
Yeah, you'll often be like seeing a carnivore attacking a herbivore. You're like, oh shit, keep away from that. Sometimes you get like the little carnivores attacking like a triceratops, and the triceratops is so big it'll just defend itself and kill the carnivore.
Yeah.
You can go along and get the scraps afterwards, the meat and stuff like that, which is quite good. So it's quite intuitive that the dinosaurs are all interacting with each other and fighting each other, but they also will attack you.
Yeah.
Not the herbivores, or the peaceful type of dinosaurs won't attack you. You can go up to them. They'll only attack you if you. So, well, it depends. Different types of dinosaurs. Some dinosaurs are timid. So if you attack them, they'll try and run away. Some dinosaurs will try and defend themselves. So if you attack them, they will defend themselves. Some dinosaurs will try and just attack you because they see you and they're like, all right, that's we're a carnivore. We want that's a piece of meat. We'll attack that player. So it's quite good. It's the dinosaurs are quite intuitive. I haven't seen them. They sort of stay around the same area, so they don't, I guess, migrate over long periods, long distances.
Yeah.
But that's like, I guess, most AI.
Yeah.
But from what I can see so far, the AI is relatively good. I haven't had any sort of issues against AI where something's gone weird and shouldn't happen. But I haven't, as I said, I've only played it for a couple of hours so far, so I can only say what I've seen.
Yeah, is the I assume you've had a few scrapes with the dinosaurs. How is what's the combat like? Is it because it always looks clunky? Not just this game, but a lot of first person melee type games, or and when I've played 7 Days to Die and things like that, it's always a little bit clunky. Is that the same here in Ark Survival Evolved?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like they've got some nice animations where you hit them and the blood will start appearing in that area, that dinosaur, which is good, and start splattering around. And if they attack you back, you'll get your screen a mist around with sort of like bloodish, reddish, so show you're injured and being attacked. And the music changes, but it is relative. I can say it's a bit clunky. There's sometimes when I feel like I'm hitting them, but it seems like it's missing, or that the sound is maybe I am hitting them, but the sound didn't pull through that I'd hit them. So the combat is so far is a little bit tricky in terms of the melee. I've not yet tried any of the sort of like range in terms of bow and arrows or slingshots or guns or any of that stuff. So I don't know how that plays, but with like pickaxes and batons and stuff like that, it's a little bit clunky, but it's no different, I think, from any of these other sort of, as you said, first person games.
No. So what would you say are some of the bits that you maybe haven't, maybe you mentioned a few bugs, things like that. Well, are there many negatives that you can pull from your experience so far?
Well, the one bug that keeps bugging me is a lighting bug that they've got in the game at the moment. So hopefully they'll fix that. But it's because at night, obviously it's a day-night cycle. And there's these obelisk type things floating around, and they're quite bright. So there's like maybe bright blue coming from them or bright green. Sometimes it blurs the corner of your vision of your screen, and it shouldn't do. You can just feel that the light's bugging out onto your screen a little bit, because maybe the light's meant to shine over in that direction, but it's bugging your screen out a little bit. So that looks a bit weird, and you just sort of have to turn around or just move and it goes away. But that happened. That's happened frequently at this stage. So it's to me, it's the biggest bug I've come across so far. And I was like, that, and it's annoying, but it's not something I can't live with, and you would expect it to be fixed. The other sort of area where I got stuck between a stone and a wall, and I couldn't move, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, and I thought I'm gonna have to die here. And I thought that this is a really bad design of a map, because the maps on here are designed. However, I realized that the stone, you could, if I had a pickaxe on me and I pickaxed the stone,
burrow your way out,
and it disappeared. Like once you pickaxed it enough, like you got all the stone from it, and then the stone disappeared, and then enabled me to walk. So that wasn't really a bug. That was more like, I guess, the procedural generating of rocks and stuff like that appearing and getting stuck in between the corner. But you can get yourself out if you've got the right equipment. So that was quite good. But yeah, the lighting bug was the biggest bug I've seen so far. I've heard that there's a few bugs at the moment with the invite a friend system on it. So for people who want to play with their friends, but that's being worked on over the course of this week, and expect to fix for that in next week's releases, so or updates. So I'm not too worried about that yet, because none of my friends want to play with me.
Well, you're on here, sell it to them now, so maybe a few people will get involved. Can you do like an offline, not an offline, like a private map with just you and your friends, or if you do multiplayer and you want to go with a friend, does it have to be with other randomers that are going to potentially spoil the party? Like, you know, like Minecraft, you have your own map essentially, don't you?
Yeah, but it's only hosted from your computer.
That's it, yeah.
Which is always the thing that frustrated me about those games, because you want to have like a server where anyone can go on at any time, so you can go on and do stuff while I'm not, if I'm on holiday for a week, and then I can go on if you're on a holiday, and then we're both on together. And it's just, that would have been the way to it. But then someone always has to wait for the other person. That always bugs me a little bit. But this one, I think is similar, but I've not, as I said, not had a chance to explore it yet. I've seen some settings where when I went to single, I think there was a chance to host you and friends.
Right.
So that I'm assuming that's a bit like the Minecraft on console, where you can have a map and then you guys can come onto my map, for example, and play.
Okay.
But I haven't. I need to investigate a little bit more. And if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to be wrong. I just don't know, because I've not had a chance to test that bit yet.
Fair enough. I do wonder whether you can use your character now, whether you can take him online, your offline one, I mean, or whether it's, you know, if you go online, you've got to create a new character from scratch, or whether you can carry anything over. That would be...
Yeah, that's a good point, because there are some games where, like, was it Tierra, you can carry them across, which is really good when you carry across the map, and it means you don't have to do all that stuff from the beginning again. No. But I don't know, most games don't allow you to carry things across the beginning. They make you start from the start.
One of the negatives of doing that means that, you know, people might go offline, grind it, become like an absolute daddy, and then just come onto online and be like a bit OP. But people always get that online anyway, I guess, through naturally leveling up. So there's a lot of these type of games out there, you know, these open world, multiplayer, survival type games that have come out, and, you know, pretty much since the evolution of Minecraft, and also another big one was probably the DayZ mod, or DayZ mod that came out, you know, a few years ago, and Rust, and you see things like Rust coming out, and The Forest was one that we had our eye on for a while. We both got 7 Days to Die on the PC and Mac. In your kind of experience I know you necessarily haven't played all the others, but you've certainly been quite into this type of genre, and you've been researching a lot and trying to find, you know, one to dive into. Do you think this is the most interesting one you've seen or come across? I mean, you've obviously gone out and bought it, but you know, there's a reason why it was. You must have had a look at it and thought, this is definitely the one for me.
Yeah, no, I tried to buy this game on my Mac about a year ago.
Yeah.
And my Mac just wasn't beefy enough to play the game, basically. So I got a refund from Steam, because they were doing the refunds at the time, and that was good. But I always had my eye on it. I just like the idea of the dinosaur side of things.
Yeah, it's unique.
And like everyone, I think, as kids grew up thinking, guys anyway, grew up going, dinosaurs, that's amazing. And you always think of that, and it had a chance to do that. So I always was up there, for me, one of the sort of better types. I would have rather played this than things like Rust, or actually this than DayZ. Right. So for me, it was always the one I really wanted to play. Yeah. It just happens to be that PlayStation doesn't really have a lot of these type of games. No. And as I said, I don't have a gaming PC, I have a Mac. So therefore, a lot of these games also don't run that well on my Mac. So actually, I guess it's by elimination that I went out and bought this game, because it was the fact that I've wanted to play these types of games more and more, and I've sort of had chances to dip in and out of them, but never play them properly. And this is sort of the first chance since sort of, I guess, Minecraft, that I can have the chance to play these survival RPG open world type games. And it's so it was sort of by elimination, but it was the one I wanted to play, which is the great thing for me. I think the only other one I've always sort of banged on about being able to play was DayZ, and I've been waiting for that to come out for PlayStation. It just happened that this came out first, so that's why I really wanted to give it the opportunity more than anything, to sort of see whether this game would really pull me in, and so far it has, and it's sort of ticking all the boxes that I wanted. So by elimination, it sort of won the race. but it was the one I sort of would have wanted to win the race anyway, had it been there. So I'm really happy. I couldn't believe that when it came out, because I just assumed it'd never come out to PlayStation until it came out of early access. Which was going to be miles, in my opinion, was spring. So I knew they had ports ready for it. So for me, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I was even, I think the week before or a couple of days before you told me it's getting released on PlayStation, because you dropped the news to me. I was saying, I saw an Xbox for £150. I said, I was almost tempted to buy that just to play Ark.
Yeah, you would.
So I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I saved myself 150 quid and only ended up paying $29.99. And that's something to say. I only bought the sort of like the base pack. I didn't buy the bundle pack, which has an extra map and some extra dinosaurs and some things like that. But I just wanted to give it the opportunity, and then to buy the bundle afterwards, only an extra £5 more than I would have paid up front. So I was like, well, if I don't like it, then I've not lost the money. If I do like it, then it's worth the money anyway. So, really, really pleased, really happy that it's landed now on PlayStation. And I personally think console gamers should give it a try, because we don't on console get the option very often to play open world sort of survival games, because we're very story driven in our world that we get, and we're the peasants of the gaming world. So when we get the opportunity to play a game that was very positively received, especially on the Master Race of PC, we should take this. I think we should try and take this opportunity and try and make the most of it, and actually understand whether this is the type of game that they should be doing. They should be doing more of these types of games for consoles.
Yeah, maybe you should get back to sales after that pitch there.
Why? Does that mean you're buying it?
I'm tempted. Like you said, out of all of them, I've got 7 days to die. I haven't spent anywhere near enough time in there. I
wouldn't waste your time, to be honest.
So you don't like that?
Well, I don't mind it. It's just fucking hard.
It is hard. I like the idea of I've always wanted a zombie one since probably DayZ. And then when I saw that, I even bought the World Z. I can't remember what it was called now, and it was just a rip off, and it was crap, and it really put me off. It put me off these type of games because it just wasn't very good. Got really sucked into the hype of it.
Yeah.
And then Ark, I came along, and I was like, that's completely out of left field with what they're thinking, what they're doing, the world they've created. I just thought it seems. That's what everyone is. Not enough dinosaur games as there is, let alone one that's in that genre where it's an open world survival game, which I do generally enjoy. So out of the ones there, 7 Days to Die for zombie, this one for dinosaurs, and nothing else is out there. It's it's very tempting. The only thing I would say or would question and go back to you on is £30 the right price point for it, considering that it's around the £22-23 mark on Steam.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's not finished, completely.
I would definitely say, like, these type of games, I would have said it the same for, I guess, No Man's Sky. These type of games, we should get out of the console era where every game was £50, and then anything below that's a bargain. Like these type of games, in my opinion, developed by sort of what class as a small studio, should be looking to retail at around $19.99 or maybe $24.99. I personally think it's if I don't know, Rockstar or Ubisoft had released this game, they would have released it at $49.99. So I don't actually think that we're getting robbed for our money here. I feel like but I feel like all games should be cheaper than they are anyway. I feel like it probably could have been about £10 cheaper. But that was the very maximum. It definitely shouldn't be lower than £20 at all. Yeah. It's a very good game, and actually you could spend quite happily the best part of 20 hours and be nowhere near even halfway getting through all the leveling and all the items that you want to craft. You're talking about a game here that's ready to go. That is a 200 plus hour game where you can lose yourself, like in the world of Minecraft, because you're like, I need a load of wood to do this next project because I want to build this and I've unlocked this and I want to build this. So you could spend the next, I'm going off sort of mining and getting these types of resources to build it, and you could lose yourself for 5 hours doing that. working simulator, I think, as Krog would probably put it. But they're quite peaceful doing stuff like that. So you can be like, I'll do that. And actually, doing those type of things are usually quite fun with friends, because you're like, right, let's go and get a load of wood, and you go off together and be like, right, I've got 200 pieces, you've got 300, right, that's enough, let's pull it in. And it makes it quicker. So I think $29.99, fair price. I would have liked it to been
the high end of fair.
High end of fair. I would have liked it to been about $21.99, about the same price as Steam.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to look at, is that typically console games are more expensive anyway, so it's only really following the same pattern as what others are doing. The thing, obviously, with Steam is there are regular sales. I'm sure this was on sale for £15 not long ago. So it makes the gap even seem even larger. But it's $29.99. You're saying that it's in a good enough state for them to have it out and be selling it at that sort of price.
I'd just say I wouldn't see this game dropping until at least after it's gone live anyway. And then not for like a little while after that, like most games do decrease in price. So I would say if people want to get it, if they're going to wait around for a price drop, you're going to be waiting several months, 7-8 months. So that's the other reason that if you're going to take the plunge, you may as well just take the plunge now, because I don't see it dropping. What's the point of them dropping a game that's this technically saying still is not fully released? Why'd you drop it and then bring it go even higher than you are now, maybe?
I'll be interested to know how many shares you've got in this firm, Studio Wildcard.
They should be giving me some.
This feels like a paid advert, but it's not. Unfortunately,
I'm just trying to get the rest of you guys to, or at least one of you to jump on with me. And then I feel like it could be. I think when there's the philosophy, when one domino topples, everyone will finally come down, like the PlayStation. You just have to get one person to knock, and then everyone just jumps on board.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. That was double the amount of time I was expecting it to take, but I think it was a good in-depth discussion about it, and it is quite a rare thing to see on the PlayStation platform, so I'm glad we had time to speak about it. I'll let you go now. I know you're a busy man, you've got things to do, so thanks for joining us on this particular segment of the podcast.
No problem.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
You're back here with me, Apps, from Idle Game Chat. No additional guests for this week, so you will just have me rambling, because I do have an important update for you guys. At the end of this year, 2016, there will be no more Idle Game Chat for the foreseeable future. So the weekly podcast is coming to an end. Rationale behind that really is just down to the amount of time that gets sunk into the podcast. It's meant that the videos that we started doing 2 years ago, maybe even longer, 2 years ago, haven't had the attention they deserve, really. The weekly podcast has been fun to do, it's been enjoyable, and it's something that I know it's been able to include a lot more people, but on the video front, I just haven't been able to put out what I'd like. And I've just finished I've done 8 reviews the other day of games that I'd backlogged, that I'd finished, that I'd written a review for, and just hadn't had time to put it into motion and do the video part. And that's just not how I intended the channel to start out. It was originally a YouTube channel. The podcast was a supplementary piece to that, and I think for the last year, we've done an episode a week, and it was a good thing to try out, and I'm glad we did that. But next year I want to get back into doing video editing, really having a bit more creative bits and pieces going on. So things like Let's Plays will return. There's ideas for shows I've been wanting to do this past year. Things like Wine and Games Night, I didn't get a chance to do that ever again, and I want to continue and keep those going. There's other things I've got in the pipeline. This should give us more time to do that. I'm not completely closing the door on a podcast in future, but it certainly can't be in the form of a weekly, nearly an hour long or over every week jobby. It's going to have to be an as and when, put it up and we record something. If it's 20 minutes, we stick it up. If it's 40 minutes, like the last 40 odd minutes that Mr. Piper's been talking about Ark, that goes up. But for now, it's going to be gotten rid of. I'm toying with the idea of another direction for
a podcast, maybe including things outside video games in it. But for now, it's back to basics. It's back to the YouTube channel where you'll be able to find all of our content on there. So expect us to be a little bit more active on the streaming front, on the YouTube front, anything involving a video. That is probably where you're most likely going to find us. The door is not closed on a podcast, but the weekly format is definitely a goner. There is no way that can be sustainable going forward whilst doing the other bits and pieces. So it may return. Obviously, we will communicate with you what we're up to, and I'm sure after a month or so we'll start getting itchy voices, I guess. I'm wanting to ramble about subjects, but we'll have to work out what we're doing. But just don't expect a weekly podcast to surface in the foreseeable future. And if you do get something on the audio front, it will be an as and when type thing, subject specific. Upload it that night, minimal editing, it's ready for people. But head over to youtube.com/DimpDigital, because that is where you're going to find the remainder and most of our content. We're going back to the video space, and I know there's quite a few subscribers there that'll be glad to see that coming back, and it's been neglected this past year. So 2017, expect a little bit more from us on that front, and we will continue the random ramblings just in another space. But thanks for listening this past year. As I said, we have had a podcast a week every Sunday. So our last Idle Game Chat going out will be on the 25th of December, which will be Christmas. So a Christmas gift for you all. The next 2 episodes will be focused on end of year discussions and awards and personal picks, that sort of thing. And then finally, I've been working on a quiz, a video games quiz for the Dimp Digital team to be working through. So I'll be the quiz master. I've prepared a few questions based around the gaming news and the games that have come out in 2016, and we're going to have a bit of fun with that. And that will be the last episode. That will be on the 25th of December, providing nothing disastrously goes wrong. But hopefully that'll be the plan. End of year next week, and then finally the quiz to cap it all off. And we'll see you all in 2017 with our YouTube channel, with our reviews, Let's Plays, Let's Talks, talking trailers. That's another thing that just we haven't had time to do. So look forward to that. And for those of you that have enjoyed this audio podcast every week, we do thank you for listening and taking your time out to listen to us and get in contact with us and give us feedback and whatnot. It's been a pleasure doing this, and watch this space, because the door is never completely closed. That's it for now, though. Game over. It's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.